Today, the biggest news comes from the Gulf of Oman, where a U.S. fighter jet has attacked an Iranian oil tanker, at a moment when Donald Trump is claiming that a peace deal with Iran may finally be close. According to the U.S. military, the incident took place on Wednesday after an Iranian-flagged oil tanker allegedly attempted to breach the American blockade around Iranian ports. U.S. Central Command stated that the fighter jet fired several rounds at the vessel and successfully disabled the tanker's rudder, preventing the ship from continuing its movement through the region. The attack immediately raised fears of another major escalation in the Middle East, especially because it happened only hours after President Donald Trump delivered one of his strongest warnings yet to Tehran. Trump said Iran must now decide whether it wants peace or a new phase of war. In a statement posted on his Truth Social platform, the U.S. president warned that if Tehran refuses to accept the current negotiations, America is prepared to launch bombing operations at a much higher level and intensity than before. Trump also suggested that the military campaign known as Epic Fury, launched earlier this year alongside Israel, could finally come to an end if Iran agrees to the proposed terms. But at the same time, he made it clear that Washington is fully prepared to return to direct military action if talks collapse. The timing of the tanker attack is especially significant because reports from multiple sources suggest that behind the scenes, negotiations between Washington and Tehran may actually be moving forward. According to several American and regional media reports, both sides are discussing a possible framework agreement that could reduce tensions and eventually end the conflict. While officials say nothing has been finalized yet, there are growing expectations that the next 48 hours could become critical for the future of the war. Some reports even claim that diplomats are working on a temporary arrangement that could reduce military activity in the Gulf and reopen key shipping routes. Meanwhile, Iran's leadership continues to reject American pressure. Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf accused the United States of trying to force Tehran into surrender through naval blockades, economic sanctions, and military intimidation. In a strongly worded message, he said Iran would not bow to external pressure and would continue defending its national interests in the region. Iranian officials also insist that the American military presence near Iranian waters is itself a provocation designed to increase tensions. The latest confrontation has once again pushed the Gulf of Oman and the Strait of Hormuz to the center of global attention. These waters are among the most strategically important shipping routes in the world because a massive portion of global oil exports passes through them every single day. Any military incident in this region immediately affects international energy markets, global trade, and fuel prices around the world. Following news of the tanker attack, oil prices reacted sharply as investors feared the possibility of a wider regional conflict. The situation is becoming even more dangerous because hundreds of commercial ships are still operating near these waters, while military forces from multiple countries remain on high alert. American naval forces have increased patrols in the region, while Iran has repeatedly warned that any attempt to challenge its position in nearby waters could lead to direct confrontation. Analysts say that even a single miscalculation could trigger a much larger military crisis involving not just the United States and Iran, but several countries across the Middle East. At the same time, President Trump appears to be balancing military pressure with diplomatic messaging. On one hand, he is threatening Iran with stronger attacks than ever before. On the other hand, he continues to publicly claim that a peace agreement is possible and perhaps even close. This combination of pressure and negotiation has become the central strategy of the Trump administration during the conflict. But critics argue that military strikes like the latest tanker attack could easily destroy any remaining trust between both sides and make future negotiations even more difficult. For now, the world is watching carefully as tensions continue to rise in one of the most sensitive regions on Earth. The attack on the Iranian oil tanker has once again shown how fragile the current situation really is. A single military incident in the Gulf of Oman now has the power to shake global oil markets, increase fears of a wider war, and push the United States and Iran dangerously close to direct confrontation once again. The coming days may now decide whether the region moves toward diplomacy and a ceasefire, or whether the Middle East enters another phase of open conflict.